all about Scorpio part 25. So this is basically a part 2 of what we already discussed on the previous recording, which is about Scorpio sting. Scorpio freezing you out or amputating a relationship, okay? But before we begin, let me actually congratulate and wish a happy birthday to all of my fellow Scorps out there. A lot of my acquaintances or friends are actually Scorpios too, and they celebrated their birthday last week. So happy birthday. It's actually November 11 here in Manila right now, Manila, Philippines, and a few days from now I'll be celebrating my birthday as well. That will be on the 16th. I actually took a 1-week vacation leave, just have some time for myself and celebrate it with my close friends and family and loved ones. So again, happy birthday to all Scorpios out there, and also a big or a huge shout out to one of my friends here at YouTube. His name is Joshua Mosley. He celebrated his birthday last November 9, I think. So happy birthday, and I appreciate you checking out all of my YouTube, especially the Scorpio videos. I appreciate that, and also those crazy comments at Pinterest. So thank you, appreciate that really. I hope you had a blast on your birthday. So let's go ahead and start with this discussion about the Scorpio sting. This is actually by scorpioland.org. You better check that out. The topic is about stinging of a Scorpio, the methods and all that. So how and why basically a Scorpio stings a former lover or friend. How did they do that? Okay. Yep, the stinger. No other zodiac sign is actually represented by an animal with such a fatal defense mechanism. The Taurus bull has its horns, the crab can hide within a hard shell, perhaps the Leo can rip your leg off, although they prefer repose to revenge. But the Scorpio can kill you by poisoning you from within. The inner realm of the emotions and the psyche are where a Scorpio sting hurts the most, by design. The Capricorn goat might want to kick in the nuts, but Scorpio doesn't care about inflicting physical as much as internal pain that can last much more longer. Okay? So the question is, why a Scorpio stings? Scorpios aren't sadists. They don't sit around dreaming up ways to cause others pain. Scorpio, however, is a sign of energy exchange. So meaning Scorpio gives more energy in a relationship than any other sign. When they like someone and merge with someone, whether a friend or a romantic mate, the Scorpio gives intense thought, intense loyalty, which is true, intense inspiration to improve that person's quality of life, and intense love. Rarely do they get back the energy they give out. So when they are actually double-crossed, sensitive, wounded Scorpios concentrate that energy one last time and then send it through the circuit to the offender in one potent sting or a series of gradually escalating stings. Then they burn the circuit leading to that person, sometimes temporarily or sometimes forever. Now here's a very informative thing about the stinging methods of the Scorpio, which is, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are also curious. What are the stinging methods of the Scorpio? How do they do that? What are those famous stings or methods? So the first one and the most popular one, and this is also something that I've been doing myself, okay? So it's actually called the ice out. So what is the ice out method? Okay, here you go. If your relationship with a Scorpio is over and you are the one who ended it, or if you committed a violation so egregious you prompted Scorpio to end the bond, then you have caused Scorpio great heartache and now are as good as dead to them. Seriously. If you see them out, they may not acknowledge you. If you phone, they won't answer. It's no secret that a Scorpio can go ice cold, and this is so freaking true. That's me, really. Before I continue, I even remembered this when I read one of the books from Linda Goodman about sun signs, and she also mentioned there that Scorpios, especially women, they're like the ice princess, if they decided to end a relationship or they got really pissed off at someone, they can be the worst or the iciest person on earth. They can just go ice cold, really. So they can actually shut you out with no words, no explanation, and that's me, and no hint of whether you'll ever be welcomed back into their inner circle. It will be as if you've always been strangers. There you go. So to be effective, this kind of Scorpio stings happen super abruptly and will be a complete stunning surprise. You will just get locked out. Now, the complete ice out consists of you also being deleted from Facebook, blocked on Twitter, and blocked in their email client. They love the mail systems that send this reply to users, "You've been blocked." I don't know. For me, it doesn't work. I mean, it's not that. I'm more of the person who doesn't, just like what was mentioned earlier. If I got really pissed off by someone, or if I'm totally pissed at someone and I decided to end the relationship, as if they don't exist, or as if I never knew them. Especially to former friends, like you thought they were really good friends, I could just turn the icy queen and all that, and would not really try to acknowledge, them, as if that person never existed, or as if that person never mattered to you. That's how harsh a Scorpio can actually sting you or ice you out in a relationship. But then again, you have to figure out why is it that they're acting that way, okay? Anyway, let's move on. With this Scorpio sting, you are, in effect, obliterated from their consciousness. You are erased. You no longer exist to them. The wound of being betrayed by one they let so close, though, will endure. Now, the second method is the mindfuck. Sorry for the term, but yes, that's what it says here. The mindfuck. And I know a Scorpio man who is so freaking good in doing this method. This is his method. My method was the ice out thing. I even remember I was telling him, stop these mindfuck games, mind games and all that. If you want, you can just play around or mindfuck somebody else, not me. That was a fellow Scorpio, I tell you, and he loves to do that. So the mindfuck strategy or the method is so freaking true because I've personally witnessed that myself. Okay, so what is the mindfuck? Okay, why freeze you out when tormenting your psyche is so much fun? That's it. So if a Scorpio really wants to screw you with their life, they'll try to collect the debt of loyalty you owe them, one tortured brain cell at a time. They'll draw you in, then cut you off, draw you in again, and tantalizingly string you along until you doubt your self-respect. I mean, that's so freaking, I've experienced that, okay? And it's not happy. So they'll feed you riddles and circles of thought until you doubt your sanity. That's a fellow Scorpio who actually, keeps on doing that kind of method, that mindfuck game. And I really don't know why he was doing that on me. I guess he gets jealous so easily. And if I actually tried to put my attention to someone else and all that, he would do that kind of game, a kind of mindfuck game. I don't know. It's kind of shitty, really. So anyway, maybe they'll hold you close and then whisper something ambiguous because they enjoy giving you, oops, this is really a tongue twister thing, indecipherable hints about their revenge. You won't know if it signals they love or hate you. Are they complimenting you or insulting you? Maybe you should just go ahead and institutionalize yourself. It will be easier. Otherwise, until you realize you're getting a slow, stinging death, you'll constantly be thinking, what the fuck, Scorpios? Okay, the next method, the third one, would be the Pimp Out. Okay, with this type of Scorpio sting, the Scorpio sucks you in with charm, and then when you want the Scorpio most and want to renew the relationship, the stinger, usually a Scorpio man, will reject and degrade you as they plan to all along. Oh my God, it's the same guy I was talking about. He is really an expert doing the Pimp Out and the mindfuck games. Anyway, often this will be after the Scorpio has used you extensively for sex. Yep, even the stuff he swore he'd never do. The cruelest Scorpio will release you as possession to trade to partners, asking one of them to date you or bartering you like a cheap commodity. pond is a term. Actually, I know it's the same guy I was talking to, or rather the same guy I actually mentioned earlier. He loves to do the mindfuck games and even, the Pimp Out thing. And what he does, he knows that this girl actually is obsessed with him. Again, that's not me, okay? But there's this girl who's totally obsessed with him and really wanted to get under the sheets and all that. And she has done a lot of nasty things towards him. So what he does to get even, because Lord, I tell you, Scorpio loves to get even. What he did was he tries to draw her in, as if that person would actually feel like, oh, he likes me really, he's reciprocating my seduce signals, or whatever you want to call it, they're flirting signals. And by the time she's completely drawn to him, what he's going to do is going to drop her off and really humiliate her, kind of like that. So it is really nasty, I tell you. I have witnessed that personally. So for you Scorpios out there, I don't know really which method are you using to sting someone, but as for me, the ice out is the much more method that I've been using on someone if I'm totally over, or I've decided to just end the relationship, whether that's a friendship, just to get away from that person, or to treat or to send the signal to that person that we're over, okay? Anyway, the next stinging method would be the status sabotage. With the right access, a Scorpio exacting revenge might set you up for a social or professional fall. Prepare to have all your weaknesses used against you. Oh my God, he really is a Scorpio. This is why Scorpios don't reveal their weakness. Scorpios may even tip your enemies off about how to thwart you, or find a way for your boss to discover unflattering things about you. I remember, I'll use this guy a perfect example because, I've personally seen how he didn't only sting me, he stung so many people out there. He's a good Scorpio, but at the same time, he could be really, 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 really nasty when he's so freaking super mad about, other things or whatever it is that triggered him. But I've seen it personally, and he definitely uses that weakness on his enemies. Like, for instance, that girl, her weakness was actually that girl doesn't want to be left alone. Like, she's a clingy type. She always wanted to depend on other people in order to survive. So he would use that kind of weakness towards her. He's really good in terms of strategies and how to hurt that person, to get even with that person, So I tell you, it's really, really nasty. Anyway, the next method of stinging of a Scorpio, the invisible sting. So what is it? In some cases, you might not realize the Scorpio has stung you. You'll feel the sting, but won't know how it originated. Wow, that's crafty. Unfortunate things might just start, happening. Scorpio is, after all, the master of subterfuge. Now, this dramatic accounting of how the Scorpio stings is part jest and part sincerity. So let's figure out which parts are actually exaggerated. Hopefully it won't take a real Scorpio sting for you to figure it out. Okay? So, question is it true a scorpion will sting itself? I've also read that from other books. It says that Scorpios, they do sting themselves as well. So the answer here is yes. And a Scorpio will too. Scorpio will sting you even if it means they hurt themselves. So if you put them on the defensive, they often have no choice. Scorpios always have to defend their honor. It's a universal Scorpio trait, as is vengeance. Going down while doing it will be supreme. Okay. I've also read that Scorpio stings themselves just like a phoenix, in order to like to be reborn. They will sting themselves to death until, they would actually, again, renew, change everything, and then start all over again. That's part of being a Scorpio, really. Change is very, very inevitable, basically, for Scorpios. So that was really informative. Again, that's by scorpioland.org. I love the discussion or what it said there about the stinging methods of a Scorpio. And again, like what I've mentioned earlier, the ice out method is the one that resonates with me more. That's what I normally do. I don't know about you, you Scorpios out there listening to this recording, if you're actually applying the same type of method or a combination of one or two. But yep, the Scorpio will also sting themselves. Okay. So the next topic would be a Scorpio man icing you out. I'm going to read this. It's pretty long, but bear with me. But it's actually from someone who shared her situation, wherein a Scorpio man suddenly iced her out. Okay? I'm going to read it real quick. Hopefully. Okay, I'm currently in a situation with a Scorpio man who has been icing me out. It all started when he went out of town for work. He's a military, and I knew contact during that period would be limited. However, while he was away, I was dealing with an emotional traumatic experience with a guy BFF, and I emailed my Scorpio guy letting him know that what I was going through. It was a hard and emotional email to write, and he ignored me. Whoops, sorry, got cut off right there real quick. Anyway, 2 days later, I texted him to tell him I was going out of town to recuperate from and anger. Okay, so again, recuperate from all the hurt and anger from my falling out with my guy BFF. Again, no response. I let him know that I could be reached via email, but that my cell would be out of range. Again, no email. I texted him again, asking why he hasn't responded, that the fact he hasn't heard me, etc. He got back to me via email saying that he had a lot going on that he has to deal with. So basically it was, you have your stuff, deal with it on your own, and I have my own shit to deal with. He's probably a Scorpio who's trying to recharge, when they're actually bothered about something. They'd rather be alone at times. I do that too, but I'm not sure if this is the case. Anyway, and then a week and a half go by without contact. He texts me, "Are you back yet?" That's the first thing he had to say to me? Whew. Of course, we texted that night, kept the conversation short and casual. I asked him to keep me updated with the family crisis is going through. Of course, he did spew me some BS excuses that I'm aware of. So that week, he goes cold again. It took me to lash out at him because I've been harboring feelings of pain and hurt he caused me by neglecting me emotionally. He lashed back defensively, and it called him that night emotional, apologizing for the things I said. Big mistake, because he didn't want to talk to me by the tone of his voice, but he did anyway. I think because I asked him to please talk to me. My cell needed to charge, so I asked if we could talk later. He said yes, only to text me back to say his phone wasn't working because he had dropped in the sink. He had dropped it in the sink. BS. Okay, another BS, definitely. After that phone call for an entire week, he sucked me back in, letting me know what's going on. I helped him through it. He even said thank you. And he promised to be more communicative, and compared to the week prior, he was, but it was still minimal. And now he has gone cold again, completely iced me out. I panicked because, again, I'm still holding all the pain and hurt he caused me because he hadn't given me a chance to talk about it. His situation or crisis had ceased. It was no longer serious or a worry. Anyway, I emailed him one last time to reach out to him, to reconnect like what I've been trying. One last attempt to fight. I know I seem clingy, but he will be the first to tell you that I'm not the typical clingy. I'm rarely emotional like this, but what he has done has driven me to the brink of insanity. Anyway, I didn't hear back, so I texted him, asked him if he didn't want to talk to me anymore, that if he wanted it to be as if I didn't existed. He replied back an hour later, said, no, that's not it at all, that I've reacted in an emotional state because he's not reacting in the way I want him to. That I'm ready to get back together, which is not true. That he needs to see his kids or friends to heal. Heal from what I do not. Maybe from me, but all I know it's him, not me. My question after this long, exhausting story is, if and when he comes back around, how do I respond? He doesn't trust me because I've been flighty with him in the past. I don't trust him because he abandoned me emotionally and has hurt me to my core with his icy cold behavior. I don't want to be played for a fool, and he pulls this BS again. Okay, so here are the responses, which is really interesting. Some of them said, don't respond at all. From your description of the interactions between you, there's little good and a lot of bad. Why would you want that mess in your life? It's up to you to set a limit and how badly treated you want to be. I would go with that response. As a Scorpio, what he's basically doing, probably he just really wanted to recharge, but I don't see, I don't see that as a reason to be such an a-hole to someone like that. Draw you in and then cut you off, draw you in, then cut you off. I mean, who wouldn't want that, For me, if I'm going to advise that woman, it's better that she showed that, okay, she can talk to the person but not invest too much emotion, but let that person know that, hey, you can't just, I'm not your puppet. Like, if you need me, you can just go ahead and grab me up and then do the things you wanted to do. And then if you suddenly feel like I don't need you anymore, I feel like doing something else and I'm just going to drop you off in an instant. I can say that because I've also experienced that. It's the same guy. I was, telling you earlier about the stinging methods. He loves to do that. He loves to pick you up and then drop you off, pick you up and then drop you off, and we're even friends. So sometimes it's better, again, to show the person first that, hey, I can still be here with you, for you. But I would also show that person, like, if I am busy with something else, and I would, let you know that you can just, get what you want, really. If I'm busy, then I'm busy. I'm not going to let you know that I'm actually waiting for you, because Scorpios really hates that. She claims that she's not clingy, but she's actually showing that she is, honestly. In my own opinion and how I see things, I think that's what the Scorpio man sees in her. Like, she is there anytime. She's available anytime he needed her. So my response is, no, cut it off. Or, don't show the person that you're available anytime he needs you, anytime that he wanted to talk to you, that you'll be readily available, because the Scorpio already expects that you are like that, right? So I guess the response that one of the bloggers actually said about don't respond at all and blah, 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 I would agree to that, definitely. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to read the entire. There are a lot of comments here which are really, really interesting. But we're already talking here for 23 more minutes. So, but I like the responses based on that story. Or probably what I can do is actually try to do a part 3 again. Probably, if we're running out of topics. By the way, if you have a specific topic that you'd like to talk about, feel free to just PM me about it. That would be great. Some suggestions on what you wanted to talk about. But anyway, I'm not going to read all of the responses to that. Because the last topic would be, since we're talking about this, this guy who's actually trying to be so icy and freezing out this lady earlier, here are some 4 signs that your Scorpio man is over you. That's going to be the next one, okay? And that's really interesting. Okay, so it says here again, Scorpios are the most passionate lovers in the zodiac family. They're loyal and fully committed to their other half. They will let you know you mean the world to them when they fall in love, although it doesn't take much for a Scorpio male to feel betrayed, as they get too possessive and stubborn when it comes to love that they want their partner to play by the rules, or else they lose interest. Since they are too introvert and hypersensitive, they will find it hard to communicate the fact that they are over you with words. So they may find other ways to tell you that your relationship is over without even just, saying it like, we're over, that. Okay, so what are those signs? Number 1, he is suddenly rude and cold. So if you have a long-term love affair with a male Scorpio, be sure that he has made plans for your shared future. If he's committed to you, it means that he has dreamed of your future life together. He trusts you, and so he can come out of a shell and show you all the affection that you need. If a Scorpio man is starting to lose interest in you, you will immediately notice a difference in his emotional expression. He will become rude and abrupt and stop giving you the emotional stability that he used to. So from a warm and passionate lover, you will suddenly see a cold and distant man. They might snap at you and stop sharing their secrets. Scorpios don't like to waste their time with someone that they're not meant to be with. So you will notice an immediate change in their attitude. Number 2, you sense that he is actually lying. So if you sense that your Scorpio partner is lying, then he definitely is. You shouldn't feel paranoid, and you shouldn't trust them. So when it comes to the end of the things, that the Scorpio male is a coward. He doesn't want to hurt your feelings, as he understands human emotion more intensely than any other zodiac sign. But he also doesn't also comprehend that by lying, he's actually hurting you even more. So this is actually his way of making things less painful. So make sure to finish it off before things get out of hand. Number 3, he avoids all contact. So in the last stages of the relationship, a male Scorpio will stop returning your calls or texts until he makes sure that you get his message. By avoiding you, he wants to let you know that it is over. It takes a lot of effort for a male Scorpio to ignore you. It doesn't come naturally, but for them, it is necessary in order to communicate their feelings. When you reach that stage in the relationship, there's actually no turning back. He will wait for you to end it, as he dislikes confrontation. That's so true. This is so freaking true about this Scorpio man that I know. And actually, that's what they do. They just suddenly ice you out at the same time and would stop returning everything. And he would actually try to become much more distant. And he'll usually snap at you and become so rude. And at the same time, he doesn't like confrontation, so he wanted to avoid that as much as possible. So, number 4, he might avenge you. If you betray a Scorpio's trust in a long-term relationship, you're actually in for a treat. By now, he knows all your weaknesses and flaws. He knows exactly how and what he can do to take revenge, and he will. So try not to make that mistake. You should know that the relationship is over the moment you actually deceive him. Whatever you do, never let down a male Scorpio. If he has invested in the relationship, he will instantaneously lose interest. It works like a switch. If they did care for you, they will make sure that you suffer the same amount as they did. You definitely don't want a taste of their sting. A breakup with a male Scorpio can be very rarely to be painless, okay? Anyway, so that's for the male Scorpios out there. Now I'm wondering how to know when a Scorpio woman is done, okay? Because we've talked about the male. I guess that will be on the next All About Scorpio, since I think I'll be posting more often. Hopefully, I'm not promising, but hopefully more often, since I'll be on vacation leave anyway. So that's going to be on the next All About Scorpio topic. But anyway, I really appreciate you guys listening to this recording. If you have any suggestions about what you wanted to find out about Scorpios or topics that you'd like to talk about, feel free to leave some comments or private message me, okay? So anyway, again, happy birthday to all Scorpios out there. I'll see you on the next recording. Bye.